Hey everyone, this is me, Potato Spud here. Thank you again for your patience. As promised, this is the first episode of just me talking about my Overwatch hero design ideas. Before I actually introduce the heroes, let me just break down how each episode is going to go. Each episode is going to be broken down into four parts for clarity. The first is going to be the introduction, where I introduce the name, the character, um, some stuff about them like their height, nationality, race, so on, etc. The next one is going to be the background, where I talk about their backstory, a little bit of their lore. Third part is the juicy but long part, and that's the stats and abilities, where I actually talk about the gameplay. I'm also going to be introducing some dev notes after introducing each abilities, just to go on and show you guys like why I gave this character this particular design, why I would think it would be great, and how maybe players could use the ability to their advantage. And the fourth one is just going to be the miscellaneous, where I talk about my inspirations. Next, I also talk about some possible skins, emotes, play of the games, and other accessories for the characters. Anyways, thank you again for hanging on. I know it's been over a year where I promised this video idea series, I guess, but thank you again and enjoy the video. Cheers. So, the character I'm going to be introducing in this episode is named Tessa. She is a Caucasian female, born and raised in Quebec, Canada. She is 6 feet and 4 inches tall and is 25 years old. In terms of her looks, she looks like Oleg from Nikki, who was the main source of inspiration for this hero. While keeping Oleg's looks, I thought it would be nice if we gave Tessa some rubber latex gloves, steel toe boots, a yellow hard hat, some goggles hanging around her neck, and some earmuffs so she is OSHA compliant. Note, big air quotation marks on the word compliant, because she is still wearing some thigh-high jeans and a huge-ass battery on her back. As part of her company uniform, I thought it would be cool if we gave a leg like a logo of a grinning bee on the back of her jacket to represent her company. Using some AI software, I tried my best to reimagine Tessa with the accessories I mentioned beforehand. Here are some of the results I got. Now, before I move to the next section, I chose the name Tessa for this hero because her entire kit and life revolves around electricity. So I thought it would be cool if we named the hero after Nikola Tesla. Tesla, my bad. Who, if you do not know, was some famous dude in the 19th century for doing some electric shit like making the Tesla Tower and bringing alternative current to the mainstream audience. And that's it for the introduction. Okay, now on to the background. Tessa is an electric engineer working for a construction firm. The company she works for, Busy Bee Construction, is responsible for building huge skyscrapers for Canada. While she isn't in the Overwatch team with Winston, Tracer, and Genji yet, she yearns to join them to use her technology to help save people. During one of her work days, a couple of Omnic terrorists attacked Tessa and her crew while they were working on the building. The attack made the entire structure faulty, and as a result, it could have collapsed at any moment, endangering everyone near and on the building. Using her gadgets and experience, Tessa saved everyone from the metal shit that fell from the skyscraper, and also stopped the Omnic terrorist. Ever since that moment, Tessa wanted to join Overwatch to help the team fight against the bad guys like the Omnic, which is like a robot war group, and Blackwatch, which is an actual terrorist group. Aside from that, being a Canadian, Tessa can speak a bit of French, which could lead to some banter between her and Widowmaker. While connecting power lines or attaching electric cables, Tessa loves to hear rock music, hard prog, etc. And you can typically find Tessa at her garage tinkering with gadgets while eating poutine during her off time. Oh boy, now onto the biggest part, which is the stats and ability section. So, unlike most heroes in Overwatch, Tessa's abilities are not held back by cooldown timers, but by two different resources, battery charge and discharge. As a result, players who like to main Tessa will have to be good at managing their resources, or else they'll struggle to gain any value during a fight. In terms of her hitbox, Tessa will have the same hitbox dimensions as Mei when Mei was a tank for one of the previous April Fool's patches, which I believe makes Tessa still one of the shortest but one of the thickest tanks in the role. Her hitbox is slightly smaller than Younger Queen's but a bit wider, if that helps with your imagination or visualization. In terms of her overall stats, Tessa will be a 550 HP tank with no armor or shield. If you aren't too familiar with how the two health pools work, I should have edited some visuals that clarify both of them. In addition, Tessa will have the same movement / walk speed as Tracer. Okay, now let's talk about her passive abilities. So Tessa's first passive ability is Battery Charge. Just like how you need battery for your phone to do anything, all of Tessa's abilities require a certain amount of battery charge to activate. Note that Tessa can only store up to 100% battery charge at any time. Whenever some charge gets used up, players will see a UI bar similar to Orisa's primary fire, which indicates how much charge is left. And just like Orisa's primary fire, Tessa will regenerate energy immediately, so long as there is space for more charge. 10% charge per second. Tessa stores all her charge on a huge battery strapped onto her back, like previously mentioned. At max charge, the battery will glow a radiant yellow, but the more charge she uses up, the dimmer the battery gets. As a result, enemies can use this visual cue to their advantage to estimate how much charge Tessa has, either to get the drop on her or kite away. So, Tessa's other passive ability is called Discharge. This resource works the same as Sojourn's Rail Charge. Whenever Tessa deals damage, she'll build up discharge. The more discharge she accumulates, the more potent her ability Hazard Zone becomes, which I will explain later. To max out her discharge, Tessa will need to deal 400 HP of damage in total. In addition, her discharge will deplete over time if she does not deal damage after 8 seconds. Visually, the player will see another vertical UI bar on the other side of the battery charge bar to indicate how much discharge she has. As Tessa gains more discharge, electricity will start jumping around her body. The more discharge she has, the more violent the electricity moves. Again, enemies can use this to their advantage to estimate how much discharge Tessa has, either for diving on the tank or kiting her. And that is all her passive abilities. Oh boy, here's the longest part. I'm just like looking at the script right now. Let's talk about Tessa's primary fire. Tessa's main weapon is the B-Box Stinger, aka BB Stinger. The weapon is a jerry-rigged grenade launcher that shoots out explosive battery canisters that can explode remotely. To shoot, players can press the primary fire key. One shot, the canisters travel the same arc path as Junkrat's grenades. The canisters can stick onto any surface and costs 15% battery charge to fire for each canister. At most, Tessa can have up to 6 canisters out in the field at any time. If Tessa already has 6 active canisters on the field, shooting another canister will cause the earliest canister she shot to explode. One shot, players can detonate the canisters on the fly by pressing the secondary fire key. This will cause all active canisters to explode and create a 5-meter diameter explosion that disintegrates all nearby projectiles and deals 500 HP of damage to the enemy. Now, a cool thing about this weapon is that it works similarly to the Wunderwaffe in Call of Duty Zombies, where enemies / projectiles caught within the explosion will cause a chain reaction tether effect that affects any nearby enemies and projectiles too. As a result, a single explosion can cause a chain attack if enemies are close together, which is effective against close comps such as Deathball and Rush, right? Now, the player can shoot the launcher at a rate of 5 canisters per second, similar to Mercy's pistol, and they can use it to sticky jump 30 meters across the map. The more canisters the player sticky jumps off of, the more speed and distance Tessa will traverse. Keep in mind that I said that the canisters can explode immediately when shot. As a result, a skilled player can pogo jump with the weapon rather than simply sticky jumping from a single place. Now the cool thing about the BB Stinger is that it can be used as either an offensive tool or defensive tool. Let's say that your backline is constantly getting dived on. You could technically pre-plant several canisters on your support so that you can kill the enemies instantly or force them to back away because of the danger. In addition, you can pre-plant several canisters throughout the objective to create a no-go zone for the enemy, thus creating space for your team to walk on. Alrighty, Tessa's next ability is called Honeycomb Defense, which can be enabled by pressing the ability 1 key. This will allow Tessa to create a 5x3 hexagon shield grid, 10 meters in front of her. Each hexagon is 3.3 meters long and wide, containing 250 health points each, and they function separately from one another. Here's a quick picture of what the shield could look like. While Tessa has her Honeycomb Defense up, she cannot use her primary fire and other abilities similar to Reinhardt. But, unlike Reinhardt, Tessa's shield will always be grounded, thus she cannot move her shield vertically, only horizontally by rotating the character. In addition, this ability has a 6-second cooldown timer. Moving forward, whenever a hexagon panel breaks, it'll take 2 seconds for the broken hexagon to replenish. So, if Tessa has around 5 broken hexagons, Tessa will need to wait 10 seconds for all 5 hexagons to heal up. Aside from that, Honeycomb Defense uses no battery charge. A UI where the ammo count usually is will notify players how many hexagon panels they have for Honeycomb Defense. For the animation folks, Tessa will lower her grenade launcher and stick out her left arm and fingers to initiate the Honeycomb Defense. Some quick design notes. While this ability works great against single target and high damage dealing heroes like Hanzo and Widowmaker, it falls against AoE, aka Area of Effect heroes like Junkrat, Zarya, and Pharah, since they can attack multiple hexagons at once. Okay, now I'm going to be talking about Tessa's second ability, Hazard Zone. Players can use this ability when pressing the ability 2 key and have at least 20% battery charge to spare. When initialized, Tessa will lower her grenade launcher, raise her left arm halfway up, and clench her hand into a fist. In doing so, anyone caught within 7.5 meters away from Tessa will be dealt 0 to 50 HP of damage and be knocked back 5 meters to 15 meters away. Note, the knockback rate and damage will be based on Tessa's discharge rate. Finally, Hazard Zone has an 8-second cooldown. Design notes. I gave Tessa this ability so that the player has some sort of way to get close range enemies off her back. This ability will allow the player to be in the fight much longer against heroes like Reaper, Genji, Reinhardt, Ramattra, and Junker Queen, so on, etc. In addition, it will also allow Tessa to contest areas of the map near the edge since she can knock enemies off the map, thus creating a potential hazard zone. Okay, prior hand, I did mention that the discharge rate and battery charge are Tessa's passive ability, but technically I consider them more as resources rather than passive abilities because it doesn't benefit the player at all. They're just resources that allows Tessa to do what she wants to do, or like allows her to use her abilities. But anyways, Tessa's only passive ability is called Fist of the Rockstar. And if you get that reference, you're based. Anyways, whenever Tessa is launched into the air from her own sticky jump, connecting a melee to an enemy will deal 225 health points of damage. In exchange, anytime Tessa connects a melee with an enemy, it will cost Tessa 50% of her battery charge. This means that connecting a regular melee will also cost 50% battery charge, but will not deal the outstanding 225 damage. Only 30. Adding on, let's say Tessa's battery charge is less than 50%. If Tessa connects a melee, Fist of the Rockstar will not activate and all remaining battery charge will drain. As a result, this technically prohibits players from spamming Tessa's melee unless they're in a dire situation where they exhaust all their battery charge. Design notes. I specifically added this ability to provide players a high skill ceiling reward. If players master Tessa's pogo jumping and strafing, they'll be able to one-shot a good portion of the hero roster, like Mercy, Echo, and I believe like Hanzo, so on, etc. I also thought this ability would be amazing to see in the higher ranks since it's very flashy, so it's going to be cool to see in like Owl when there's like a huge stall between the team fight. This ability can basically turn the tide around. In addition to that, it could be like used to highlight moments in a montage, etc. Tessa's ultimate ability is called Shredding Lightning. The ultimate executes similarly to Aritsa's ultimate, but my hope is that Shredding Lightning gives the same results as McCree/Diva's ultimate. You want to use it to clear a part of the map either for an objective or to create space. Whenever the player presses the ability 3 key, Tessa will immediately mimic herself playing the air guitar with the BB Stinger. All enemies within a 50-meter vicinity will be hindered for 0.5 seconds. During this time, Tessa will continue to play her air guitar solo for 5 whole seconds, which will build up the damage for her ultimate ability. Once 5 seconds pass, Tessa will strum her guitar in a downward motion and lightning will blast out of her body to the sky. Any enemy still within the 50-meter vicinity and not undercover that is at most 10 meters above their head will get struck by the lightning. This Thunderbolt will deal a maximum damage of 200 HP. Just like Orisa's ultimate, Tessa's air guitar solo can be interrupted by clicking her primary fire button, but this of course will make the Thunderbolt dish out less damage. Shredding Lightning's damage ranges from 100 to 200 HP. Quick notes: unlike Orisa's ult, once the enemies are unhindered, they will have a 4.5 second time window to stun Tessa out of her ult. Players can utilize this to their advantage to clear out space or disrupt an enemy attack/counter attack. For example, let's say a Genji bladed and is about to dash into your backline. You can use Shredding Lightning to hinder the Genji for 0.5 seconds to give your support time to escape. This ultimate will be especially useful against flying heroes out of position. Sure, they can take cover, but this will mean that they're grounded, giving your teammates 5 seconds, or I guess 4.5 seconds to hunt them down. Overall, I designed Tessa to play and feel similar to Tracer, where she has high mobility, quick resource burnout, and a high skill ceiling. Players willing to master Tessa's battery charge management and sticky jumps will be highly rewarded for their plays. My main inspiration for creating Tessa is again a leg from Nikki, so credit to her design goes to Shift Up. As for Tessa's battery canister launcher, I was inspired by Team Fortress 2's Short Circuit and Sticky Grenade launcher. In addition, the ability Fist of the North Star came straight from the Market Garden. Lastly, the taunt Shred Alert and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure inspired me to create Tessa's ultimate. Hence, I'd like to give kudos to the people who made that movie and also Valve for creating all those weapon ideas. On a side note, here are 2 skin ideas that I think would pair great with Tessa. The first one is the Canadian Red Surge uniform. In this case, I'd call it Red Surge to play into Tessa's fascination with electricity. Another skin that would look cool on Tessa is Angus Young's attire from AC/DC. Being a rock fan herself, I think this cosplay would make a great addition to her skin lineup. We can call this skin Thunderstruck. Moving on, whenever the player does the high voice line for Tessa, I think it would be cool if instead of waving hello, Tessa holds a rock symbol at head level with electric sparks forming between her pinky and index finger, which I believe has already been done in Far Cry Blood Dragon. Whenever the main character gets I think a kill streak or something, he does like that rock symbol with this like robotic arm and electricity starts like popping out between the 2 fingers. So credit goes to Ubisoft there. Lastly, some cool emotes for Tessa that I thought of were her shotgunning a can of soda, her doing a camera hand pose like she's trying to eye out a structure, and finally a taunt where she takes out a measuring tape and extends the tape only 2 inches, all the while showing a bruh face similar to this. Thanks again y'all for sticking around until the end of the video. just quick afterthoughts. This is my first time kind of like tackling this kind of video where instead of creating dialogue on the fly while playing a video game, I try to formulate some ideas, create a discussion while reading a script and also adding some thought notes to it. Let me know how I did. If you guys like this kind of video where I talk about video, I guess like character design, let me know. I personally enjoy it a lot, so if you guys don't like it, let me know. I'll try my best to fix it, because I really want this like series to stick around in my channel, because I want to get my ideas out there, if I'm completely honest. I think I mentioned this beforehand, but when I was in high school, I would think of like all these ideas for heroes, right? And one of them was like a grenade launcher support hero, which I based off from the game Evolve, from Turtle Rock Studios. And what do you know? Baptiste comes out. Another, I guess, like time is when me and my friend were talking about like a South Korean support hero, and then my friend said like, why don't one of her abilities be like she takes out a shotgun, right, and like knocks back people away from her, specifically a double barrel shotgun. And what the hell do you know? 1 year later, Ash comes out, and we were like, bruh. And so yeah, another part was like I remember my friend, also the same friend actually, telling me in like my STEM class like, oh, why isn't there like an ultimate ability where like you can either like take control of a hero or actually be the hero? I think a year and a half later or somewhere down that time, Echo came out with the copy ability, right? And so I thought like, why don't I like create this, like log these hero designs, so if a hero does come out similar to one of my ideas, I can have like a haha I told you so moment, you know? So yeah, thank you again everyone for watching, and I hope y'all have a nice day. Arigato. Cheers.